First of all, as our guiding question to invite us to drop in before we start officially is simply how it feels to be in your body right now. So I want you to give you permission that knowing that you're on mute, knowing that nobody's really looking at you, do whatever it is that you need to do to get really comfortable, to feel open, to untangle any of the kinks that might be in your body. You might like to close your eyes to shut off all of that extra sensory information and just tune in. Because I'm guessing that that desire, the attunement to your needs, to your body, to how it feels to be home in that space is probably what brought you here anyway. So let's do that right from the get-go. While you unkink through the body, I want you to simply focus on your breath. That's how we'll start here. Just breathing. Maybe taking the deepest breath that you've taken all damn day. And just notice what that is like. Notice what it's like to notice. To invite in this awareness of how you're feeling, of the places in your body where there's stagnation or stuckness or pain, discomfort. Knowing that all you need to do is breathe and stay. And so keeping your eyes closed, I invite you now to just take this next minute or so as complete space for yourself to set an intention for the following 30 minutes. Knowing that I've got my eye on the time, so you don't need to. Knowing that the phone might be off, the door is closed, nobody is needing anything from you for the next 30 minutes. So give yourself a big fat permission slip to truly drop in, to close the rest of the world behind that door. Not in a way of pushing it away, but giving yourself the gift of sacred space, of time to slow down, tune in, and take that sacred pause. And so your intention might simply arise as a word, perhaps an image, a visual, maybe a projection of how it is that you'd like to feel for the rest of the day. Or perhaps it's something bigger, grander, more fueled, more charged, more special to you at this point in time. What is it that you're wishing for, aching for, craving, wanting to create, wanting to birth? Because even as we gather in this space around Cacao, the whole effing point of any practice we choose that aligns with us is to just come home to our own heart. Whether that's through Cacao, movement, yoga, meditation, whatever kind of practice you have. It could be simply looking out at the sky or listening to the birds. But let this quiet speak for you now in whatever intention is the most real and true for you. Simple or complex, there's no right or wrong. Notice if your mind comes in to judge or edit or label or make it sound better, make it make sense. And so noticing that the mind is this separate entity from whoever is behind that making the intention. And we create a little space there, knowing that the mind is the servant to the watcher, to the observer, to that place in us that we might like to call soul or spirit or heart or truth or our authentic self. Just connecting into that energy now. Perhaps repeating your intention over 3 times to really lock it in to your bones, to your cells. And each time you repeat it, each time you exhale deeper, you trust that that intention is being written into the code of you, into your beingness. Because that intention has come through, it means it already exists somewhere. Just patiently waiting for you to align with it, to find it, this treasure hunt of life. And so whenever you reach a place of satisfaction that your intention has been heard, that it has been declared, you're absolutely more than welcome to keep your eyes closed for the next few minutes, or you might like to open them. To pick up the mug of whatever it is that you have available, whether that's cacao, whether that is your sacred magical elixir of epicness, or it might simply be a cup of tea, some water. There's no judgment in it needing to look a certain way. You don't need to have a candle on like me or burn Palo Santo. For me, I'm actually drinking my bone broth here because I've had my cacao today already. But the intention is still to commune with the spirit of cacao, with the energy of it. And what I mean when I say that is that everything we connect to, whether it be nature, whether it be a city, a person, has this quality, this personality. And so when we commune with cacao, this personality comes through really strongly to me as a feminine entity, as one that feels really closely connected to nature, to Pachamama, to Mother Gaia. Really grounding, ceremonial, sacred, and kind of a reclamation of all these different parts of the feminine in me that might have been dismissed or hidden or staying quiet. So I invite you now to get curious about what your relationship with this entity might look like and might feel like. Who is Cacao when she speaks to you? When we treat anything as sacred, we deepen our connection and our relationship to it as being reciprocal, instead of closing ourselves off and being this purely 3D human walking around in a world of no meaning, which can feel pretty disconnected and lifeless, colorless, if we act in that way. So just conjure up that willingness and openness to take every word as an idea, a concept to explore for yourself and what that means for you. Each relationship, whether that is with our romantic partners, with our friends, with our mothers, with our children, or with the plant medicines that we choose to cultivate a relationship with, is deeply personal. So this is my invitation to you to create this ceremonial feeling ritual in your way, in your voice, in your language, in whatever way brings you back home with as much grace as possible. And so pausing now to notice your hands around the mug, resting it up against your heart space. Perhaps the other hand rests on your sacral, your solar plexus, your womb. another part of your body that feels like it needs some tender, loving care. And just notice the warmth that is offered here. The softness in which your breath can land. The relief that comes when you close your eyes and trust that there is nowhere else to be and nothing else to do. And firstly, before we even take a sip, I'd like you now to breathe into your feet by sending your attention, your awareness to the soles of your feet, each toe from the pinky to the big toe. From the inside out, feel the sensations of what it is to be in your feet. Encourage the density of the active mind to trickle down the body, lower, 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 until it goes down your legs to the soles of your feet. So there's this equal weight distribution of where the mind energy resides. And as you breathe in, I'd like you now to imagine that from the center of the earth, the core of Pachamama, there is this source of light, this big ball of beautiful, infinite, a wellspring of luminous vitality, pure light. So with each inhalation, you draw up from the core of the earth and invite that light to come hit the soles of your feet through every single layer of this planet. And as you exhale, you offer that light back. So there is this exchange of energy, this looping of the breath, inhaling up from the center of the earth, exhaling back down. And if you're a sensory person, you might like to pay attention to if there's any tingling or electricity pulsating in the soles of the feet, proof of this connection. Perhaps you're more of a visual person, and so this idea of charging light up from the center of the earth and then dripping it back down like this waterfall that travels in both directions is more helpful for you to connect into. And continue doing this with your breath. It's automatic. You don't even need to think about it. It's happening just because you intended to. I'd like you to also pay attention to where the body is relaxing and how that feels. How it feels to let the shoulders come down. How it feels to unclench through the jaw. To bring some softness to the brow, to the belly. To let your hips unhinge, unkinking the channel between Pachamama and her infinite source of light and you, your body, your cosmic meat suit. And just notice how this grounding doesn't feel heavy in a sense. It feels anchored. And so now that we have come together in plugging back in to the rhythm of nature, to her timeline, and a little bit more out of the head and into the body, I invite you now to take your mug up toward your lips, taking a few deep breaths in and out, just getting comfortable and intimate with the plant medicine of cacao or whatever it is that you're holding to be the conduit of the spirit of cacao for you today. Breathing her in, perhaps giving her a color. Maybe it's a hymn for you. Maybe there's an animal that comes to mind or a texture. What are the personalities, the qualities of this energy for you? And whatever comes up might feel really silly, and that's okay. This is the time to be imaginative and creative and shift out of the logical mind, the rational, the analytical, and into that childlike sense of wonder and awe that we too often forget about as adults. And so as you create this closeness, if nothing comes up, if it feels numb or you're not getting any answers or the mind is too loud, ask. Reveal yourself to me. Show me what you're made of. This entity wants to commune with you, wants to communicate with you. She wants to soften you. But oftentimes we accidentally close ourselves off from the beings that want to support us, physical or non-physical. The support and willingness that is all around us to help us on our journey. And so here is your space to open, to lean in, to ask, to pray for it. Taking a big, deep inhalation, filling your body, your cup with light. Upon your exhale, I want to bring your intention, that initial focus, to mind and breathe it into your cup. And just do this over another 3 times. Inhaling to draw the light up from the center of the earth, perhaps down from the cosmos above, or maybe from the entity, the spirit of cacao herself, to fill your cup, fill your body, fill your heart. And as you exhale, holding your intention in mind, crystal clear clarity, as you breathe out into your cup, offering that wish like you're throwing a coin into a well. And continuing with this until you have completed 2 more rounds. And when you have come to that comfortable place of completion, of declaring your wish, your intention, of letting cacao know, letting the world know, declaring from that deepest part of you, the truth, the soul, the spirit, what it is that you really want, what it is that you are choosing to become and embody, I'd like you to take a sip. And let this sip be a metaphorical illustration of your access to drink from the wellspring of all that is. Let that sip be your access point to all the energy you could ever crave and desire, to all the vitality and health and wealth that you could ever dream of, to the unconditional love and support of community and tribe. Let that sip, as you drink it in, remind you that all you have to do to access everything that you want to feel, is ground and open and receive. And so now a question, an inquiry to ponder. What is this full moon in Scorpio illuminating for me? What unresolved, lingering issue that has been living in my cells is now being lit up by the power of this full moon to be alchemized, to be transmuted, to be released, let go of? What has been arising for me over the last few days that has now come to full view for me to see clearly, to acknowledge and to feel before I can move on? And just giving yourself some moments to allow whatever comes up to come up. We are really, really good at keeping the truth arm's length from us, especially when it's a bit too uncomfy. So what is that deeper truth that perhaps you've known a really long time and have chosen to betray yourself, to close it down, to shut it down, to numb it out, to forget about it, to place it in a dusty box at the back of the attic of your mind with a label on it that says not now? What is that uncomfortable truth, that unresolved pain, that uncomfy authenticity that really needs your attention? And once again, without any judgment of what comes up, it could look weird or strange or funny. It could look totally illogical or not making sense. But just let it be. Do your best to stay out of the mind. Attune back to how it feels in your body. What feels like truth? What feels like lying to yourself? Usually this can be felt through an opening and a constricting. And just let those messages be heard. Whenever you feel like you need a reminder of that trust that everything is working out just for you, that it's all here for you, take a sip of your cacao to bring you back home to that remembrance. And then carry on with telling yourself the truth. Notice if there's any emotion that also seems to be hanging out in the background. Perhaps it's unclear of what the emotion is. Perhaps there's a lid and you feel stuck or numb or not feeling. And whatever is the case and true for you, I invite you to step closer toward the energy in the body, energy in motion, emotion. When something is too painful and we first begin to feel it, the mind goes into story about it, thinking it's too scary to feel, and it shuts it down. And so biochemically, what happens is the hormonal rush of this emotion gets suppressed and interrupted in its cycle. And so it gets locked into and stored into the cells until we're ready to really listen and open up to feel it. And so just ask your body now and trust whatever comes up. What is there for me to feel and acknowledge? What is there that I have been running from, hiding from, escaping, distracting from, procrastinating from? And even if you have to lubricate it along the way, just welcome whatever energy comes up. You might notice a bubbling in your stomach or a wrenching through your intestines. You might notice a slight feeling of closing down through the heart, maybe constriction in the throat. Maybe your brows start to furrow and your jaw is getting tight just at the idea of feeling a feeling. And all of that is okay. It's okay. By having this practice of the sacred pause, we give way for these feelings to complete their cycle. And once they complete their cycle, they're done. They don't have to live here anymore. We don't open up this space to feel our emotions, to be the victim of them, or perpetuate a story about them being hard, or even with the expectation for them to go anywhere. But a curiosity and an openness and a willingness to hear the messages, to hear the wisdom of that energy and motion that has been stuck, that has been suppressed or stagnated. So what is coming up for you? Ask yourself this. What is here for me now? What is here? If it's nothing, that's cool. Lean in. Are you sure? Can I peel the curtain back? Is there something that you're protecting me from? Just cultivating this inner dialogue between you and your own inner realms. This is the beauty, the magic of the full moon, is that it ignites us to see clearly, to get radically honest about what is not working, to tell the fucking truth, so that we can then turn the gaze inward, prioritize time for introspection and reflection, so we can pivot and make our journey make more sense to our soul moving forward. So just acknowledging this soft, tender place and wrapping it in that unconditional pool of love that you have access to. If you don't feel it there within the walls of your own heart, pull it up from the center of Pachamama. Wrap whatever feels hard or uncomfy or tender or young or scary or painful or hurt or angry. Wrap it in your own love, not to smother it, but to bring it up to the light. To nurture yourself, truly give yourself what you need, that you have been seeking all this time from the outside world, from others. Wrap every single part of you in this love, this warm, nectar. And if that feels tricky or challenging for you to do, ask Cacao to do that for you, the spirit of Cacao, or life, or whatever it is that you connect to. Whatever greater, mystical, mysterious force that exists that you can connect to, ask that. And when you feel at a comfortable space of completion, of tenderness, of acceptance, of a general okayness that can coexist with whatever is not okay, take a deep breath in, filling from the soles of your feet all the way up to the crown of your head with light, pulling, magnetizing from the center, the core of the earth, that infinite wellspring of energy, vitality, love. That higher frequency invited into your body now to lift you. And you feel this string pulling the top of the crown of your head higher. So you stand firmly on your own 2 feet. As you walk through this world with an open heart, protected and connected. Take another sip and let the medicine of whatever is in your cup, the medicine of Cacao, to be truly embodied, welcomed. And either resting both hands around the mug on your heart, or taking one hand and placing it on your solar plexus, your belly, bringing a gentle smile to the lips, promising yourself that you know how to come home. No matter how far you stray, there is always this home to come back to. I'd like you to bring one thing to mind to be grateful for as we close. This could be a person or a material thing, an opportunity, as simple as the sun peeking out from behind the clouds on a cold day, or as grand and big as everything in life that has got you to this point right here and now. Bring in that thing and not just think gratitude, but feel it. Feel the warmth like honey coating itself in your insides. Your heart expanding, your smile beaming. And then on these final few breaths, as you exhale, just like that, out of the mouth, allow anything that needs to be let go of, transmuted, alchemized. Anything that feels dense or heavy, perhaps it's tension in the body, maybe it's a situation that feels uncomfortable. Whatever is present for you, as you exhale, just imagine that that is being passed over back to Pachamama. Remembering that you can do this as the masterful creator that you are. Whenever you feel ready, either staying quiet and soft with your eyes closed even as I wrap up this call, or choosing to slowly blink open the eyes. And take the gaze to somewhere in the room, whether it's out a window or to an object, something that you can connect to, that you can receive joy from, life force from. Perhaps it's the sky or a tree, maybe it's a candle flame, an indoor plant, a crystal, a book, the color of your walls. Just take your gaze to that place and notice the subtle joy that can be felt from this ever so simple pleasure. Thank you, beautiful humans, for joining me. I wish for you that there is more ritual to come, more sacred space to come, more ceremonial gathering for us. But for now, I invite you to take at least 5 to 10 minutes, give yourself that time after this call to keep the phone off, resist picking it up and turning it off airplane mode and checking Instagram, resist taking, whatever. Just stay, even if you have to really pee. Just stay with what is and breathe or ponder or ask or pray or write or move. Like, just tune in to what this energy means for you and how you can translate it to affect the external, your outer world. So that's all from me today. I hope to see you again next month. If you have any questions, please feel free to shoot me a DM on Instagram or send me an email of how this felt for you, of what was brought to light, of what maybe felt sticky or confusing or tricky to navigate. This is a safe space, and community is the foundational pillar of what Spirited Seeker is all about. So please continue that conversation, and I will see you next time.